Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Jumilang Khoyant, Inda Kemcho, and welcome to Salam Media. I'm your host, Sarfaraz Tekaulia. This is Friday Night Live with me, ST, and we're coming to you live from our headquarters right here in Johannesburg, South Africa. Alhamdulillah, another Mubarak day of Jummah has passed us. Another great week, a turbulent week for some, including myself. But we make shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for granting us the ability yet again to witness another Mubarak day of Jum'ah. Inshallah, we are now in the month of Dhul Hajjah. Our Imam today was just speaking to us and mentioned something very important. There are adhkar which we can perform during this days of Dhul Hajjah, some dhikr, ayati karima, etc. These are, momentous days, and let us, inshallah, try and make the most of these days available to us, inshallah. Next week, we will be, inshallah, celebrating Eid, a very different setup. But anyway, good evening and welcome to one and all. If you have just tuned in, I'm your host, Sarfaraz Takawala. For the next 2 hours, I'll be with you and my co-host, Zakir Dawood, inshallah. We will be broadcasting live from Johannesburg, and there's so much coming up tonight on the program. We're talking about snake handling, all the do's and don'ts about snakes and these types of creatures. We want to hear from you. What are some of your thoughts regarding snakes? Are you a bit freaked out when it comes to these types of creatures? Some people, they have like this arachnophobia when they see spiders, including myself. I just can't deal with it. So we'd like you to interact with us. Send us your WhatsApps on 061766 0355. If you are tuning in via the Salam Media website, we welcome one and all. Also on the YouTube channel as well as the Facebook Live platform in that regard. Now we begin the program tonight with a message, and alhamdulillah, we've got a nikah announcement, and this nikah announcement cannot just go by because it is a good friend of mine, Zuba, aka Charlie. So this one's for you, my man. The Ibrahim Nur Muhammad and Motara families are pleased to announce the nikah of Zubair, who is the son of Fatima Mapilau and the late Ashraf Ibrahim Nur Muhammad, to Sajida, daughter of Hashim Bhai and Zubaida Motara. Inshallah, this takes place on the 25th of July, which is tomorrow, the 3rd of Dhul Hijjah 1441. The nikah will be performed at Baytul Hamd Masjid Extension 1, Lenasia at 11 a.m. inshallah. May Allah grant barakah and afia in this nikah. And yes, the nikah is a, bringing together of two souls. You are completing half of your iman. It is a momentous occasion. Mubarak to you and to many others who are engaging in this virtuous act, a sunnah of our beloved Habib Sayyidina Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So yes, coming up tonight, there's a whole lot still to come, and we've got a surprise for you around about 8:30 or so. But I'm not gonna, spoil the anticipation. I want to keep you enticed in this regard, and we'll welcome our Al Ansar listeners at around 8 p.m. or so, inshallah. It is now 7:05. Don't go away. We'll be back after this.
Marais. For over 80 years, Osman's Taj Mahal have been perfecting the art of the perfect blend of spices, pure, aromatic, and well-seasoned. Spices to tantalize your taste buds. From creative cuisines to gastronomical gourmet goodies. From exotic odors to traditional dishes, Osman's Taj Mahal have remained synonymous with quality spices and condiments. Taj Mahal rice, beans, and lentils. Try our range of chili bite mixes, rose and ilachi syrup, our quick and easy biryani pack, and our traditional range of spice blends. Osman's Taj Mahal, there is no substitute for quality.
It's the time of sacrifice, a time of sharing. Join Islamic Relief as we ensure your Qurbani is distributed around the world, from South Africa to Gaza. Your Qurbani will change the lives of thousands of people in need. From as little as 895 Rand, you can fulfill the greatest act of love. Gift your Qurbani today. Visit www.islamic-relief.org.za.
With over 80 years of experience, IG Hussein and Company are renowned for their quality Islamic wear and goods. IG Hussein and Company stock a variety of Islamic items, musallas, kitabs, Medina dates, perfumes and exclusive gifts. We guarantee you a unique and friendly shopping experience for the entire family. Visit our new branch in Overport at 202 Kenilworth Park, Brickfield Road. Open 7 days a week with ample parking and wheelchair friendly. Like us on Facebook or Instagram at IG Hussein for our latest promotions and updates. IG Hussein and Company, your Islamic lifestyle. It's a new beginning. It's a new era. Salam Media, humanitarian journalism.
Okay, welcome back. It's now 8 minutes after 7 p.m. This is Friday Night Live with me, ST, and it's time for the hashtag Go Wild segment. It's an outdoor segment where we feature, as it says, going wild, everything about the outdoor lifestyle. And tonight we're talking about snake handling. I speak to Johan Marais, who is the CEO of the African Snake Handling Institute. Now, snakes. And we're talking about snake biting, and snake bites can be serious and sometimes life-threatening, and it requires swift action in this regard and appropriate treatment. Now, majority of victims do, however, experience a full recovery without the administration of antivenom. In many instances, venomous snakes will bite in self-defense and inject no venom at all. Such bites are referred to as dry bites. Another possibility is that a potentially deadly snake may inject a small amount of venom, far too little to do serious damage, and in such instances, antivenom would not be required. Now, doctors need to do a thorough assessment of the condition of a snake bite victim before antivenom is administered. Now, we're talking about serious versus deadly snake bites tonight. We're talking about symptoms regarding snake bites, do's and don'ts. Let's say you're sitting in some remote part, maybe on the west coast of the country, and you may be 3 hours away from your closest town, and you happen to come across a boomslang or a Cape Cobra and you get a snake bite. What do you do in that regard? Have you been a victim of such? Interact with us. Let us hear from you, or you can comment below on the Facebook platform there as well. You can send through your WhatsApps on 061 766 0355. And so roughly 11% of the 173 species of snakes in Southern Africa can be considered deadly, and these include mambas, cobras, the rinkal, the puff adder, the gaboon adder, the boomslang, and the twig snake. Have you even heard of some of these names? Well, maybe you haven't. And now the Mozambique spitting cobra accounts for the vast majority of serious bites, followed by the puff adder, and then the stiletto snake and the rhombic night adder. Most of the deaths results from snake bites in Southern Africa are a result of the Cape Cobra and black mamba bites. The vast majority of snake bite victims who are hospitalized soon after a bite will survive. No more than 15% of snakebite victims will require an antivenom. Now, to talk to us a bit more tonight, I welcome Johan Marais, who is the CEO of the African Snake Handling Institute. And we welcome him to Salam Media and to the program.
Good evening.
Johan, good evening to you. Welcome.
Hi there. Thank you.
Awesome. Now, first things first, some people, might look at what we are talking about and think, it's not such a serious thing. But hey, snake bites, and I want to discuss the difference between deadly snake bites and what aren't so deadly. And as I mentioned in the intro, some snake bites can be serious and sometimes life-threatening and require swift and appropriate treatment. And majority of victims do, however, experience a full recovery without the administration of antivenom. Now, there is this perception, Johan, that all snakes are venomous. How do we differentiate what are venomous snakes and which aren't? How do you class the two?
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no easy answer. It's very difficult. We have about 173 different types of snakes in Southern Africa. We have a lot of color variation. So even if you take one snake, like let's say a mole snake, It can be pitch black, dark brown, light brown, sandy color. So, yeah, I think the important thing about any snake encounter is that all you need to do is back off 5 paces. So if you come across a snake, if there's a cobra making a hood, no matter what the snake is, if you can back off 5 paces, you are perfectly safe and cannot get bitten.
Right. So the first thing to do is to back off 5 paces backwards or away from the animal. Now, in addition to that, right, many instances, venomous snakes will, in self-defense, act and inject the venom. Now, what creates this sense of fear or this tactic within the snake? What makes them attack or come across in a self-defense manner in this regard?
Yes, as I just said, if you're 5 paces or more away, you cannot get bitten. You're perfectly safe. So we find that the majority of snake bites happen in the warm summer months from January to April, May. It mostly happens at night, and it's largely because people accidentally stand on them. So that's the big thing. The other thing then is people that see a snake and now they want to grab a stick and go and kill it. If you're going to threaten a snake, you're looking for trouble. Back off the 5 paces and you're safe.
Now, there are a variety of snakes, right? Looking at some of the statistics here, roughly 11% of the 173 species, as you highlighted, in Southern Africa can be considered deadly, which include the mamba, cobra, the rinkels, the buff adder, the boomslang. Some of these names, we are quite familiar with growing up, in high school and, going to varsity, whatever, you have your exhibitions and, they come in, snake handling and they try and break the ice.
Yes.
For you yourself, Johan, what was your earliest memory coming across with these types of animals and what enticed you so much to get involved and being the CEO of the African Snake Handling Institute?
Yeah, I grew up in Durban, and we had a few snake encounters there, not so many, but a lot of my holidays were spent on family farms in places like Kuruman, Grootvlei, Almalua, and the moment anyone there spotted a snake, it was killed immediately. They either got something to whack the snake, or if there's a shotgun, they take the shotgun and just kill it. And
now, talking about Durban.
Yes.
There is a program on National Geographic that I follow called Snakes in the City. And there's this guy, and I think it's his wife or his girlfriend, whoever. But so anyway, he really breaks this down. The name just slipped my mind right now, but I know the program is called Snakes in the City. Yes, and it's in Durban. And you see this thing slithering up the rowboat or coming down and in the, these hotels. And I didn't actually know Durban had so many snakes. Never in my life. I mean, being a Johannesburger myself, we go down to the coast for the holiday. I'm now going to think twice when I go to like Umhlanga Rocks or Durban North Beach or South Beach.
That's not necessary. That's not necessary. I'll tell you why. So between Simon and Nick Evans, Jason Arnold, there are a few guys that in Durban that do snake removal, and between them, they remove over 100 black mambas a year from gardens and houses, etc. How many bites do we have from black mambas a year in Durban? Just about 0. People just don't get bitten by them. They're not aggressive. They avoid people, and when they see them, they have these guys come and remove them. So we have a free app that we've developed. It's now had like 100,000 downloads, and on this app, we have about 600 people countrywide that do snake removal. So no matter where you are, you can just press snake removal, and it'll say to you that Peter is 3 kilometers away. You press his number, and his phone rings, and he comes and takes it away for you.
Okay, so give us the name of this app that's available for people to access or to download.
The app is called ASI Snakes. ASI Snakes. And not just does it have the snake removers, there are a few other very useful features for folks. So for instance, we've got first aid, what to do and what not to do. We have hospitals countrywide, so you can just navigate to the nearest hospital in an emergency. And then another very popular feature is we have local snakes. So if you're in Lenasia and you see a snake and you press on local snakes, it'll show you what snakes occur in Lenasia only, so you don't get confused with others. So that's pretty cool.
Okay, so this is quite interesting. Yeah, pretty cool. I'm actually going to check this out, in our ad break. Now, I want to talk about how to avoid getting bitten, right? What are some of the things people can do? As you mentioned, taking 5 paces backwards or away from the snake. But I mean, that I'm sure can't just be all. I mean, let's say you're in some remote part of the country, maybe, you in Hazy View, out in the Kruger, or maybe you're out in the coast, or the west coast of the country, Springbok, and you, come across some animal or something of that sort. So how to avoid, what are some of the do's and don'ts? Give us some tips.
Okay, so I think quite important, if you're going to go and spend time walking in the bush and going on trails in Hazy View, or you're going down to Namaqualand, very, very important, get yourself leather boots, nice, comfortable ones. There are fantastic leather boots in the market. Snakes do not bite through leather boots. So that's very important. Equally as important, if you're going to walk around after hours in the dark, if you're going to go from your camping spot in Springbok to the showers, use a torch. Light up and look where you're going. That's very, very important.
Now, these are some of the important aspects that I wanted to discuss. Now, and this brings me to symptoms of snake bites. Now, snake bite symptoms, they vary dramatically, right? From bite to bite. Many snake bites take place so quickly that victims are not always certain they have actually been bitten. And a bite mark is seldom the characteristic, the tooth fang, the puncture mark. So how to identify these symptoms? How do we break these down? For those who don't know anything about what, and the severity of snakes, because many people go out in the wild, they're like, okay, you know what, there's a slung, whatever the case is, I'm not worried about it, brave man, caveman. When it hits the fan, this is when you start sweating and, panting. And so what are some symptoms one can experience? Take us through.
Look, smart questions. It sounds like you've been reading some of my books, because you're really asking the right question. I think, the incidence of snake bites are not that high. So it's quite rare that we'll hear of people going on a holiday, going to a camping spot and someone getting bitten. But the problem is when there is a bite, people panic. They think this is the end, Very, very few snake bites end up being fatal. It's like very, very rare in South Africa for someone to actually get killed by a snake. So I think the important things is, if you're going to go to an area, let's say you're going to go to Hazy View for a weekend, do yourself a favor and do a little bit of preparation. Just Google the nearest hospital. Just check. You might have a car accident. You might have someone falling, getting injured. Check where the nearest hospital is. Equally as important, do you have medical aid? If you have medical aid, there are two or three very important private ambulance services. Get their numbers. Keep those numbers handy. Make sure that you know who to call if you have an emergency. And in any snakebite incident, the most important thing to do is to get to the nearest hospital. That's it. Nothing else. And if you can get to a hospital relatively quickly and safely, you've solved 99% of the problem. If we start talking first aid for snake bites, then it starts becoming quite complex. It's very well laid out on a free app. Check that out. But in most snake bites, if we look at the statistics, 9 out of 10 snake bites in South Africa are from a Mozambique spinning cobra, puff adder, night adder, or stiletto snake. Those snakes all have a cytotoxic or cell-destroying venom. So if you have a bite, you're going to experience some pain and swelling, and there is no first aid whatsoever. Don't worry about first aid. Get to a hospital. And if it's going to take you an hour or two, it's fine. Get to the hospital.
Now, looking at some of the first aid measures, I don't want to go too deep into them, but some of the first aid measures, which one could maybe, take into caution here. As you mentioned, downloading the ASI snake app, or getting the victim to a hospital as soon as possible. What about, keeping the victim calm? I want to just highlight these, short, brief things, keeping the victim calm and as still as possible. Movement.
Let's go a bit deeper into it.
because you might be a bit anxious. Oh, I'm being bitten, and you start that adrenaline rush. You could run maybe faster than a cheetah. Who knows?
Yeah.
Do these things, as I mentioned, movement spreads and speeds up the venom, etc. What are some of these?
So what actually happens in the majority of snake bites is when someone is bitten. In the old days, we thought that the venom goes into your bloodstream and spreads very quickly. Well, that's not exactly the case. The initial spread of the venom is largely through the lymphatic system. So we have lymphatic fluid in our bodies. It's like a vacuum cleaning system for the body. It takes impurities to the kidneys. So the venom immediately gets into the lymphatic system, and then it starts spreading. And the more muscle movement you have, the more you move around, the quicker that venom is going to spread. So it's important, keep the patient calm. They mustn't move around a lot. Keep them calm, sit them down, get them into a vehicle, get to a hospital.
Awesome stuff. Now, lastly, Johan, people might be, enticed by snakes and, have a passion for it. To be a part of the African Snake Handling Institute or to become a snake handler, for example, what are some of the requirements? Let's say there's somebody watching maybe in some part, I don't know, maybe in some rural area in the Eastern Cape. We've got, viewers and listeners around the globe, but they might be enticed and say, hey, I've got, what it takes to be a snake handler. I might want to actually take a career in this kind of thing. I might want to actually put my number on this guy's app, for example. Hey, who knows?
Yes.
What are some of the requirements and who do they contact in this regard?
So it's pretty well spelled out on the app. Again, you just go to events. And so what we do is countrywide, but mainly in Johannesburg, Durban, and Cape Town, we present snake handling, snake awareness, snake first aid, and snake handling courses. So we have one tomorrow at Cradle Moon near Lansera Airport. And what we do in that day, we spend the morning doing theory. We tell people about snakes, their behavior, identification, myth, superstition, and then we go into the first aid measures, and we go into a lot of detail with first aid, because the deeper you go into it, the more complex it becomes. And I also discuss the medical treatment of snake bite, explaining to people how antivenom works, when do doctors give it, what are the side effects, what are the dangers. So that's all in the theory part. And then in the afternoon, what we teach people is how to actually capture venomous snakes using the right equipment. So we don't grab them by the tail or grab them by the head like you see the guys doing in Snakes in the City. That's advanced stuff. So we teach people very safe protocols. And when they've done the course, they can then come onto our app as a snake remover, or they can, if they have the right equipment, they can safely remove a venomous snake in an emergency situation.
Okay, well, that really sums it up quite nicely, I must say. Johan, thank you so much for your time tonight on my show, and all the best in your future endeavors. And let's not get bit, hey. Let's just keep it safe. And as Johan mentioned, keep 5 paces away. Johan Marais, the CEO of the African Snake Handling Institute. Thank you for your time tonight. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers. So tonight we're talking snake bites and snake bite handling, etc. The do's and the don'ts, the myths behind all of these kind of things. And as you heard, a snake will, in self-defense, inject no venom, because it might, in many instances, venomous snakes will bite in self-defense but inject no venom at all. These bites are referred to as dry bites, and Johan was taking us through the immediate anti-venoms and leather boots, which are some things which you can utilize if you are out in the bush. Use a leather boot because they will not penetrate that as well. And also some symptoms are an immediate burning pain followed by some swelling, dizziness, etc. But as Johan mentioned, the puff adder and the Mozambique spitting cobra are one of the most notorious here in the country and account for most of the bites and the cases in this regard. It brings us now to 7:25, time for a quick ad break. When we come back at 7:30, we've got hashtag Sports with Zakir on Friday Night Live with ST. Don't go anywhere. Keep it locked to Salam Media.